A group of girls are running in the sweltering heat in a military boot camp, shoveling through dirt, climbing rope, and having hand-to-hand fights with their instructor. Tokaku Azuma is a distant girl with a cold glare, hitting all the targets, defeating all the instructors, being the only girl to survive. Raised in the underworld, Kaiba is the teacher of the private academy, 17, sending Tokaku to class black with a weird riddle and telling her to get the target. The target was picked for a special reason, the rest of them being hired like her and selected because this happens to be what gives them pleasure, and some of them wanted just to get the reward for the game, being money, power, or whatever else they can think of. The man gives a sinister grin, wondering what does she want, with the girl replying with nothing. Kaiba calls her, giving her a riddle, to then telling her the truth. Kaiba tells Tokaku her life means nothing and no one cares about her, explaining he picked her because she was the most psychologically damaged and messed up person he could find, giving her another riddle. Will she kill to live or live then? Being two options, saying unless she plans to let live and live, confusing the girl. Mayojo Prep Academy is a school for the elite and privileged students of Japan, children of the rich and politicians. She goes to her classroom for her orientation, wielding her in one hand with her book bag in the other, suspiciously walking to the door, hearing the soft voice of a student reciting the names of her classmates, this being Ichinose Haru. Tokaku is entranced by the girl. Haru promised to herself that no matter what happens, she'll graduate. Haru looks up and notices Tokaku. Haru greets her, wondering if she's in the same classroom as her. Tokaku is taken aback, being suspicious, so then turning around to see her homeroom teacher, the friendly, hardworking Ataru Misurogi. Class soon begins, where their teacher introduces himself to the girls. Inakai Isuki giggles at the man, calling him pathetic for being overly friendly, calling him too young, saying she needs a more experienced man to teach her anything new. Hashiri Neo chimes in, calling the girls' taste in men old, liking senior citizens. Izuki takes this personal, offering the girl. Tokaku introduces herself, being student number 1. Next is student number 12, Banba Maharu, who's a gentle, mute girl who shyly says she'll introduce herself later in the dark, who is shaking, telling the man not to make her repeat herself. In class, Haru is terrified, but offers the class handmade cell phone bracelets. She made them last night as a token of friendship, and when the sun sets, Neo tells Tokaku a morbid story about how the workers who made this place suffered countless to make it where it is, exclaiming her knowledge of the area, offering to work with Tokaku and be her underling, getting to the point that they both smell like being a code in the underworld. Tokaku flat out says it's Haru, smelling like prey. Neo says she doesn't know yet, assuming that the phone straps have some type of GPS in them, tossing it on the side of the building. Tokaku's reflexes catch it. Remembering a bad memory, Mistress Suzuki interrupts them, pointing out that the target is Haru, dropping the act as a student, telling them her family is getting that money because she'll win. Meanwhile in the classroom, Haru is giving out her bracelet to Maharu, hoping she'd accept it, with the girl blushing, accepting it, calling it a relic, grinning, explaining her definition of it, a personal object of someone exalted. Haru and Tokaku eat together, being roommates. At dinner, Haru expressing again how no matter what she's going to graduate. Tokaku points this out and asking her why it's so important to her, with Haru giving a little bit of a backstory. In the room, Tokaku spots out the camera in the room, trashing it. On the bed, she notices that Haru has scars all around her thighs. Haru hides them, saying they're from an accident. Tokaku asks to get a better look at them, but Haru denies it, so she flips her dress. Haru realizing she's not a very nice person. In room 12, Isaki gets her roommate, being Sagai Haruki, the candy-eating delinquent. Haruki pisses off Isaki by asking for nail polish remover and not saying the mistress in her name, making her want to fight, but also telling her she uses gel. Haruki quickly grabs her hand, twisting it, teasing the girl, telling her name sounds like a guy's name, with Isaki liking her name. Tokaku is the class representative, having to do roll call, with Haru tagging along. In the hallway of the dorm, Haru and Tokaku meet Amatomi, Chitaru, and Hisugi Kirigaya. Then Haru knocks on the door of room 12, with the door knocking back in front of her, being Haruki's room. Haruki helps her up, feeling on her hand, checking for signs of bruises and other wear and tear. Thinking she figured out who the target is, Haruki offers Tokaku pokey chocolate sticks, to then throwing them at her. Tokaku blocking the with a clipboard, to then being scolded by Haru, telling her it's not nice to throw food. On the way back, Tokaku remarks on Haru's smell, with Haru assuming she means her actual odor. Banba chimes in how Haru has no idea what the smell she's talking about is. With the sun being set, she's come to introduce herself. Shinya Banban, being her split personality, a fiery, aggressive monster, her inner demon. Tokaku has a memory that night of her teacher giving her a lesson, telling the students it's a waste of time to get to know the person you're going to be in. With her waking in a cold sweat, Haru wakes up soon after shivering, hoping Miss Tokaku won't hate her after she finds out who she is. Tokaku asks Haru her thoughts on the first riddle Kaiba gave her, with the riddle saying, "The world is full of blank." She wants to know what Haru's answer would be, with the girl having no context to the question, but choosing forgiveness. Her answer shocking her. The riddle's answer will change based on the person's reading it. She recalls her dark memory, feeling that there's hope in the world for her, but refusing to believe this, thinking Haru might know about her past life, but dismissing it. The next morning, Tokaku responds to Kaiba, answering the riddle with forgiveness. Shockingly, the answer was correct, but Kaiba giggles, expressing that the riddle is too vague and doesn't have a clear answer, but for a child like her, she looked for another person's opinion as the truth, wondering, has she finally woke up? And when she realized that everything that Kaiba has told her was a lie. In class, there's 4 new students, Shina, Kenmochi, having glasses and brown hair, being to the far left, the lavender-colored girl with green eyes, being Otoya Takachi, who likes to tease/bully other people, the calm, relaxed, blue-haired girl, being Suzu Shuto, lastly, the serious girl with black hair, Koko Kaminagi, proclaiming to be the new class rep, with Tokaku gladly giving her that position. When class is over, Tokaku is uneasy with everyone acting like normal high school girls. She's even more alarmed when Neo reaches for her pocket, grab her handkerchief, with the rest of the girls giving a sinister grin looking at her, almost like a sign saying leave the room. Tokaku leaves the room, with Haru following. Neo gives her formal announcement to all the girls, telling them to meet her at the top floor at midnight. Neo being the handler of the game, or the enforcer, and Tokaku needing to make a decision very soon. Isaki, back at the dorm, gets some tea packets asking Haru to a tea party. Haruki comments on this and how fast she's acting, Isaki wanting to get this over with already. Haru asks Tokaku to stay for some tea, but she doesn't care what happens. On the way out, she tells Isaki she has a rancid smell. Tokaku goes to the field to work out, and to also clear her mind. When the girls have tea, the girls discuss Isaki's name, being a guy's name. Isaki explains that her name is a variant of her mom's name, telling her it's also because her mom is a man, saying both of her moms happen to be men, with her not sharing a drop of their. So she decides she doesn't want to spill any of her. Haruki goes to confront Tokaku and asking her about the tea party. Tokaku is confused, so Haruki spells it out for her, telling her that Class Black is activated. With Isaki convinced Haru is the target, and becoming rather impatient. Hearing this, Tokaku runs back to her room. With Haruki surprised, Neo walks out of the shadow, laying out the scenario that Haruki didn't get involved knowing all this, with her replying it's not good to have bad blood with your roommate, asking her if that's why she didn't jump in, also knowing it's not a good idea to be too hasty. Neo reveals that Haru has quite the body count on her as well, her entire immediate line of family. Haruki finds this a little hard to believe, but Neo keeps going, mentioning her big family as well, but Haruki warning her not to do that again. Isaki plans to soak her in the tub. When she goes to pick her up, Haru's subconscious tells her in the third person that Haru can't die. Tokaku walks in on them to see Isaki her, admiring her scars. Tokaku first carries her body to the bed, and the 2 girls fight, having their hand-to-hand combat. Tokaku overpowers her, pulling out a beetle. With a frightening look on her face, is begging for her life, with Tokaku stopping, remembering someone calling her name. Isaki notices this, realizing she's a virgin when it comes to kicking the girl, then punching her, knocking her out. Isaki laughs, knowing that a member of the Azuma clan can't, letting her live for today, planning to use this information in the future. A memory of Tokaku's curse comes back to her, with a woman telling her to remember the shrine if she ever gets close to someone. Tokaku wakes up, crying, with Haru sitting on top of her. When she wakes up, she headbutts Haru, asking her a barrage of questions like why she took no damage from the headbutt, why does she have so many scars, and how could she be conscious after being so much, and who is she? Haru wants to know something as well. Why didn't she let Isaki try her? Haru tells her that she's immune to most drugs, being awake the entire time. She knows they're all well, wondering why Tokaku saved her. Haru tells her that her family used to be a part of a powerful organization, with many people wanting them, with her immediate family vowing to live for all of them. Tokaku realizes that they're both cursed. Haru promises to smile no matter what happens, but knowing the odds are against her. Having answered all of Tokaku's questions, Haru wants to know, why did she choose to save her? Not knowing what to say, she's stumped, but they're then getting a knock on the door, but they're receiving a note from the class rep to gather at midnight. At midnight, Neo starts her orientation, introducing Hanabusa Sumureko, a frail girl who's only comfortable in her own furniture. Neo reveals the target, with everyone already knowing, then going over the rules. Rule 1, only one person can target, with the reward being anything the person desires. Rule 2, don't involve anyone outside the classroom in your schemes, meaning don't get Mr. Mizuragi involved. And Rule 3, if anyone fails at their attempt, they're automatically expelled. As well as breaking rule number 2, when they're ready to attack, they have to give Haru an advance notice letter with only 48 hours to eliminate the target. Tokaku arrives to rip her advance notice in front of all of them, letting them know she's defecting to Haru's side. And that's where we're going to be leaving off from today's video. As always, if you like what you saw here, subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading more daily videos just like this one, and this video will be broken down into parts as well, so I'll see you next time.